In less than 24 hours, a suspect in a serious hit-and-run case taken into custody. Why he says he drove away from the scene and what led him to turn himself back in.
And a major step towards getting younger children vaccinated that could just be hours away. This as an FDA panel meets to vote on Pfizer's COVID vaccine for children ages 5 to 11 years old. However, some parents feeling apprehensive. Just how many may wait before allowing their children to be vaccinated? We explain still ahead.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
New this noon, a visiting judge denying a motion to have the Bexar County District Attorney disqualified from the public corruption case of Michelle Barrientes Vela. This sets the stage for the indicted ex-constable to finally go to trial nearly 2 years after she and a member of her administration were indicted. Judge Sid Harrell shot down the defense's motion. Days ago, officials with DA Joe Gonzalez's office had argued that the motion failed to demonstrate a conflict of interest and said its basis for being filed in the first place was, quote, pure fiction. Barrientes Vela is scheduled to go to trial December 6th on 2 felony counts of tampering with records. The trial for a man accused of shooting and killing his wife continuing today. Luis Benevento accused of shooting and killing Alicia Willis back in May 2019. This morning, testimony continued from a crime scene investigator and a firearms expert. Later this afternoon, we're going to have much more on this testimony. Benevento facing 5 to 99 years or life in prison. San Antonio police say one phone call helping them to solve a big hit-and-run case. They say the driver involved called a PD, turned himself in, telling them he had hit a man on a bicycle with his dump truck. That's right. We first told you about the crash on the southwest side yesterday. As Katrina Weber reports, less than 24 hours later, that suspect booked in jail.
Before the sun even came up yesterday, the lives of at least 2 men had been changed forever. One had been run over by a dump truck while riding his bicycle on French Street near Highway 90 in South Zarzamora. The second man on his way to work witnessed it all.
He had a pretty significant wound, open wound to his head. Looks like both his arm and his leg was severely crushed.
Eric Abbey told us yesterday he was traumatized by what he saw and stunned that the truck driver didn't stop. By evening, there was yet another change. 25-year-old Christian Gomez in custody and facing charges. An arrest affidavit says after seeing a post on Facebook, Gomez realized he might be the driver in this crash. He told police he had heard a clicking noise, then found a bicycle under his truck. The affidavit says he looked around but didn't see anyone hurt, so he drove off. Police found the mangled bike at the other end of the block from the victim.
You can still see the markings here from where police spent hours investigating. They took measurements and searched for surveillance video. Ultimately, though, it was through the suspect turning himself in that police were able to solve this case.
One thing they still don't know is the name of the victim. Police say the crash left him unconscious and he had no ID. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
All right, taking a live look out at the Alamo City, 80 degrees. We're in October, right, Justin?
Yes, yeah, we are. But look, it's going to feel more like October by tomorrow morning. We're going to get a front through here. It's going to feel much better, I promise. We'll get rid of some of this humidity. It is warm, though, at the moment. We are sitting at 80 degrees here in San Antonio, 80 degrees in Uvalde, 85 in Del Rio, with quite a bit of cloud cover out there. Let's zoom out some, show you the rest of the country here, because there is some cooler air off to our north and west, and this is what we're waiting on. 43 right now in Salt Lake City, 55 in Albuquerque, and that front scheduled to be through here probably pre-dawn tomorrow. That'll bring with it some storms as well. So this next cold front, we'll call it noticeable. You'll see temperatures go from the 80s for highs and 60s for lows, muggy conditions down to 70s for highs, 40s for lows, and very dry conditions. So it will be a nice change. Forecast for today, just a 20% chance of rain. We'll top out in the mid 80s. But as we get into tonight, overnight, we'll see a broken line of storms. I think that is probably around 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. here in San Antonio. Could see a few strong storms as that line moves through as well before everything clears out early tomorrow morning. We get gusty winds thereafter. We're going to break down this forecast a little bit more. We'll talk about that severe threat as well coming up here in just a few minutes. Guys.
Thank you, Justin. Many parents watching the FDA closely today. An advisory panel is meeting to consider whether it will recommend the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. Regulators expected to authorize those pediatric doses, and then the CDC is likely to sign off a week later, possibly giving the official green light for shots to start going into arms by the end of next week. A Pfizer study of about 2,000 children showing that its two-shot vaccine is nearly 91% effective against the symptomatic infection with only mild, short-lived side effects.
As pediatricians who care for these kids, we want to find a solution, and it is a miracle that we potentially have one.
There is still some apprehension, though, among parents. There was a Kaiser Family Foundation survey that found that roughly 1/3 of parents of children between 5 and 11 say that they will wait and see before allowing their kids to receive this shot.
Well, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this week's episode of KSAT Explains addresses this large-scale problem. In Bexar County, the numbers show domestic violence is increasingly deadly. Now, protective orders are one of the tools the victims can apply for to keep their abusers away. But when it comes to what protective orders are and what they actually do, there's often confusion. In this week's episode of KSAT Explains, we break down what you need to know about a protective order, as well as hearing the incredible stories of 2 domestic violence survivors. You can catch the episode live tonight at 7 on KSAT.com, the KSAT TV app, and KSAT's Facebook page. If you can't watch it live, we're going to post the full episode so you can watch it on demand later this evening.
Later on this week, an opportunity to learn more about Mexican cuisine and the tradition of Day of the Dead, how you can take part. Still ahead.
And it has been a long season. It's always a long season with baseball, but we are finally here. The World Series pitched tonight. Hey, go Astros. RJ Marquez joining us with a preview.
The clock is ticking for lawmakers to finally reach an agreement on a massive spending bill. They are trying to do so before President Biden departs for a major foreign trip at the end of the week.
That's right. As ABC's Elizabeth Schulze explains, Democratic leaders insist a deal is close, but they're still negotiating to be done.
Chasing a win in Congress, President Biden and top Democrats are racing to finalize negotiations on a major spending package.
I'd like to do them this week.
Key sticking points include provisions over climate change, Medicare and Medicaid, paid leave, and how to pay for the plan. To appease moderate Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, the bill's price tag is expected to be cut from $3.5 trillion to just under $2 trillion. After Sinema opposed a tax rate hike on corporations and wealthy individuals, Democrats are now floating a new tax on billionaires.
I know you've been hearing this wealth tax has got everybody totally excited to a certain extent. And the only thing I've ever said about taxation, it should be fair.
As negotiations drag on, progressive Democrats are once again flexing their muscles. They insist an agreement must be reached on specific details, not just a framework for the spending package, before they'll agree to vote on the separate roughly $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, investing in roads, bridges, and broadband internet.
Let's let the president go overseas with the idea that his party and others are working for the betterment of America.
The president is still hoping to secure a vote on that bipartisan infrastructure bill before he meets with world leaders in Europe at the end of this week.
This initiative is about betting on America, about believing in America, about believing in the American people.
Progressives in the House would have more than enough votes to derail the infrastructure bill, so making sure they're on board is critical to passing the president's agenda. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Looking outside with live cam, boy, the hair not liking this morning. I got to tell you, you know, when you go out to the farm early in the morning and everything looks like it rained.
Yeah.
It was so humid out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of dew, some mist and drizzle this morning. It's just kind of damp. You look at that picture in October, you think, oh, it's cool outside. It is not. It is warm and humid. But we get some changes, I promise, by tomorrow morning. The aquifer down 0.4 of a foot. and we could use a little bit of rain. We'll see what it does to the aquifer with some of those storms tonight. And in the pollen count, molds and ragweed are both in the low category. We'll time out those storms for you coming up.
KSAT 12 presents another Day of the Dead Stormy. Brought to you by Toyota.
If you've driven through the streets of San Antonio, you've undoubtedly come across the impressive artwork of Los Otros murals. The work of Sheck Vega and Nick Soup has been seen in various murals across South Texas and the country.
We take the elements of traditional styles and colors and elements, and we give them a new spin by doing it in a whole new genre of work with spray paint, new tools, and just give a more contemporary, modern feel.
This year, the pair has been tapped again to paint a calavera from start to finish during the Day of the Dead Riverwalk Parade.
I can't wait to see what the energy of the people of San Antonio bring.
Having painted together for such a bit and also being friends for such a long time, it's kind of like dancing. We definitely have two different perspectives that go onto it, but they seem to meld together.
The roots of this dynamic duo are based right here in San Antonio, and with every impressive mural, they reflect the culture of the city and are bringing vibrant colors and life to our Day of the Dead celebration.
To have one of the biggest celebrations in the nation, I think for the city of San Antonio is deserving. We're a large Hispanic culture here that celebrate traditions and art, so what better way than to combine both of those?
It's something where we could share this, and this is how we party. This is how we have a good time. This is how we remember people, how we share our experiences with our loved ones.
All right, this Thursday, KSAT Insiders having a delicious opportunity. I'm trying to look at the food while I read this. You're going to learn more about Day of the Dead and a traditional Mexican dish. It looks delicious.
Oh, it's lunchtime, isn't it?
It is.
Join Alicia Barrera and Naco Mexican, the restaurant best known for their breakfast tacos and their delicious chilaquiles in the kitchen. If you are in for this, it's an insider event. Owners Francisco and Lizeth are getting the spirit of the Day of the Dead, and they're sharing part of their rich cultural history through a family recipe. It's the mole verde.
All right, you can sign up online. Tickets less than $10 and happening this Thursday at 7 p.m. It looks phenomenal. I know
we're having a hard time reading the prompter because I want to see what they're making.
Yeah, mouth is watering. We were just talking to Elisa. She's super excited about it too.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you know, Day of the Dead is a big deal, and everybody's looking at the weather because we have the River Parade coming up.
No pressure, Justin.
No pressure, yeah. And you know, and I think we're ready to like have some cold weather food, right? You know, mix it in, get something fallish out here. It will feel quite a bit different by the end of the week, that's for sure. Outside right now, we've got cloudy skies. A little bit of sun's trying to peek through, so temperatures have jumped up to 80 now. Dew point is at 72. South-southeasterly winds at about 8 miles per hour. And you can see the cloud cover. It's expansive here across South Texas. Now, this is all high and mid-level moisture coming in from the Pacific. If you remember, we had a hurricane down there, Rick. Some of that moisture streaming overhead. It's not really doing much as far as rainfall is concerned. It's really just cloud cover, but it is going to stay mostly cloudy, I think, probably until this evening. Dew points. This is the important number here. It is very sticky out there, but we get that front through by tomorrow morning, and dew points just fall off. We're talking 20s and 30s. Yeah, it is some really dry air. We get that all the way into the weekend, so we'll get to enjoy some nice mornings too. Temperatures right now: 82 Gonzales, 81 in New Braunfels, 86 Cotulla, 85 in Del Rio. Warm and muggy. There is the front right now moving through the Albuquerque area, and behind it we do have that cooler air. 43 right now. Salt Lake City hasn't made it through Denver yet, but this cool air swings into Texas, and this is the same storm system, by the way, that's been bringing all that rain to parts of California. Now, with this, we do have a threat for some strong storms. We have to pass that along, and the best threat for that, or the biggest threat for that, is going to be up across parts of North Texas and parts of Oklahoma. But we could see some here. The area shaded in yellow, that's a slight risk. On a scale of 1 to 5, we're talking about a 2 here. Hill country is underneath that. Here in San Antonio, we're in a marginal risk, the lowest of the risk, but it is still there. Gusty winds and hail would be the main threats if we were to get some strong storms. By tomorrow, that threat shifts east. Some of our eastern counties will be under the gun. I think basically mid-morning through maybe noontime, and then it all moves east of here. Here's the forecast as a FutureCast sees it. By 2 o'clock today, still seeing a couple of light showers, perhaps a few sprinkles by 6 o'clock as well. Then a break in the action around 3 a.m. We start to see those showers and storms develop right along the front. That slides east-southeast, and by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, I think we're seeing some storms here in San Antonio. And again, along this broken line, a few of those storms could be strong. It'll be quick moving. And by 7 o'clock, probably east of San Antonio, and then clearing out by midday with gusty winds kicking in. As far as rainfall is concerned, don't expect a lot. I think here in San Antonio, 1/4 to 1/2 inch, just because of how quickly this line is moving. Better numbers up to the north and northeast, lower numbers as you go south and southwest. If there is a heavier storm, it's possible we could get some isolated totals higher than this, but that's the general idea. Fire weather watch. Behind the front, we get the gusty winds, and areas down to the south and west have not received much rain, with humidity levels dropping off. There will be a fire threat here. Gusts up to 40 miles per hour are possible. And let's look at those FutureCast wind gusts. We're going to go into tomorrow and fast forward to noontime tomorrow. Gusts here in San Antonio closing in on 20 miles per hour. I think they could be a little bit higher than that, but you'll start to see gusts 30, 35 out west, and it only increases from there by 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Gusts up to 35 here in San Antonio. Could see some gusts up to 40 out west. So it will be a windy day on your Wednesday. In the meantime, we've got 86 degrees today, 20% chance of rain through about 5 o'clock. And then as we get into tonight, 40% chance at 4 a.m., 60% chance by 6 a.m., and if you're commuting early tomorrow morning, you may run into some of this rain. 40% chance at 8 a.m., and then storms ending by 10 a.m., and we'll get those gusty winds, as I mentioned. 79 tomorrow, 79 Thursday, 78 Friday, and then back into the 80s this weekend. But the mornings will be really nice. Mornings in the 40s, both Friday and Saturday, and at this point, Halloween looks pretty good, too. Guys.
Very seasonable weather.
Not
for
bad
change.
at all. Yeah.
All right.
Justin Horn, thank you so much. I know a lot of people's Halloween costume this year, Astro players.
Oh, very nice. I had not heard about that.
Oh, yeah, you got to be ready, especially if they win.
Yeah, exactly, especially if they win. The Astros taking on the Braves. They are back on the field tonight for Game 1 of the World Series. Coming up on sports, we will take a look at this series as it gets underway tonight in Houston. And speaking of a higher power, because the Astros are powered up, ready to go, we're going to tell you all about these Houston Rally Nuns that are a big hit in H-Town. That's coming up in sports. The stage is set for the 2021 World Series that starts tonight between the National League champion Atlanta Braves and the American League champion, the Houston Astros. The Stros are looking to capture their second World Series title in 4 years, while the Braves will try to win their first World Series championship since 1995. So this will be the Astros' fourth trip to the World Series overall and the third time as American League champions. They won the World Series in 2017 and have actually advanced to the League Championship Series 5 consecutive years. It's been an incredible run for Houston, led by the likes of Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa, but they will have to do it this time around without star pitcher Lance McCullers Jr., who has been ruled out for the series.
Yeah, not going to be able to make it. Not going to make it to the roster for the World Series with the type of strain that I have in my forearm. It's typically a 6 to 8 week before you pick up a ball. We remained hopeful. You know, we tried to push it as far as we could, but just couldn't make it back to throwing. So, you know, it's disappointing, but, you know, I'm just going to, you know, keep doing, you know, what I can do and have all the faith in, you know, our team and the guys that we have out there and try to win a World Series.
Framber Valdez will get the start for the Astros. He was 11-6 this season. The Atlanta Braves are making their first World Series appearance since 1999. The franchise has won 3 world titles before, with their last one being in 1995. The Braves defeated the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Division Series. Then they defeated the defending World Series champion, the LA Dodgers, in 6 games to capture the National League Championship Series and earn a spot in the Fall Classic. And speaking of success, the Braves have made 16 appearances in the playoffs since their last World Series. Former Astros pitcher Charlie Morton will be on the mound for Game 1. He'll be the starter for the Braves. He knows the Astros well. He was on the roster when the Astros won it all 4 years ago.
I pitched against them in the postseason in 2019. You know, in 2019 they had a little video before the game trying to get me distracted, and then I pitched against them a couple times last postseason. So, you know, I've already revisited that, and obviously a couple years have gone by, but, you know, I'll always have really fond memories of the guys over there, and but coming back here, you know, it's only natural you're gonna feel something.
That's right. This is actually the 3rd consecutive playoffs that Morton has pitched against his old team. And it all starts tonight with Game 1 in Houston. First pitch set for 7:09 p.m. Game 2 will be right back at Minute Maid Park tomorrow night. Then Games 3 and 4 will shift to Atlanta. All right, the excitement inside Minute Maid Park hasn't only been for the players. Astros fans can't get enough of the Angels in the outfield. That's right, they are a group affectionately known as the Houston Rally Nuns. And beloved Houston business owner Mattress Mac is getting in on the World Series fun. Mattress Mac bought 55 tickets for Game 1 of tonight's Fall Classic for the Dominican Sisters of Mary Magdalene Province. They've appeared at 2 playoff games during this run. And guess what? The Astros have won both. Coincidence? We think not. The sisters are a hit within Minute Maid Park. One of them even threw out the first pitch.
Never thought I would have the opportunity to throw out the first pitch. And this is not just a regular game, a playoff game.
It gives us great joy just to know that we're a sign of hope somehow to the city and the game.
Angels out in the outfield. We need all the help we can get tonight.
Oh man, love that story. Okay, so Sister Catherine has been a diehard Astros fan since 2005. She told a local TV station that she always makes a habit of watching the games.
I got it. Leave
Yeah.
nothing to chance.
Absolutely not. Hey, you know what? A higher power, the Astros, probably need all the help.
Do you want to give a score prediction for tonight's game?
Astros win.
Okay.
8-6.
Okay.
High scoring.
High
But I'm saying
scoring.
Astros win tonight.
Love it. You coming back at 12:30?
We'll be back.
All
Yeah,
right.
we got a lot more.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
RJ. Supply chain delays continue to concern shoppers and stores ahead of the holiday season. And now a major retailer says it's not worried about getting packages to your door in time. What changes it's making? Coming up in the next half hour.
Plus, you probably heard of the keto diet by now and know at least one person who touts the potential weight loss benefits. A new study may have discovered another reason to consider the diet, how it could have an effect on brain tumors. We're going to explain. Still ahead.
We want to bring you up to date on the severe weather all across the country. On the East Coast, the first nor'easter of the season.
New York and New Jersey already declaring states of emergency, flood alerts in effect from New Jersey all the way to Boston. New York City officials urging people living in basements to plan ahead after 11 people died in flooded basements last month, all in the wake of Hurricane Ida. Some areas could see up to 8 inches of rain.
Meanwhile, after dangerous storms hit Missouri on Sunday, the National Weather Service is now confirming that an EF3 tornado hit near Fredericktown. The twister destroyed buildings and left thousands of people without power. And on the other side of the country, California, it is still waterlogged and it's still dealing with downed trees, closed roads and snapped power lines after that big storm blew through there.
All right, well, back here at home, knock on wood, we are not dealing with anything like that. Although it is cloudy, haven't seen any blue skies today, Justin.
There's been a few peaks of sun, but not much. And you guys pointed out those weather systems. This is a time of year where we do tend to see those strengthening weather systems that can produce not only severe weather, but also winter weather. So we get kind of both. I want to show you what's going on here across the country. That nor'easter is starting to move out. Boston still getting some rain. Places like Maine still seeing some of the rain and gusty winds, but it is moving away. The West Coast also getting to clear out a little bit as this storm system moves towards the middle part of the country. But now it moves towards us, and we start to feel the effects of this system, and we will get some cooler weather. Not cold, but cooler as we get into the latter part of the week. Here's a quick check of the pollen count. Molds are low, ragweed is low, so just a heads up there. We'll see what the winds and if we do get any rain tonight, what that does to the pollen count. Temperatures are in the 80s, if not mid-80s there around Pleasanton, 76 in Kerrville, 80 in Uvalde right now. And that front is still across parts of New Mexico, but it will move quickly and should make it here by tomorrow morning. Here are the main headlines. We'll see mostly cloudy skies today. There could be a couple of light showers. We're not looking for much, though, rainfall-wise. It is overnight when these storms will move in. We think pre-dawn, 4 to maybe 7 a.m. here around San Antonio, there could be a couple of strong storms. And then behind that thin line of storms, we'll see some gusty winds, perhaps gusting up to 40 miles per hour by tomorrow. Forecast for today, 20% chance of rain. We top out at 86. We'll talk more about those storms and the rest of the week coming up here in just a bit. Guys.
Thank you, Justin. A new study showing that following a keto diet alters brain and body metabolism in people with brain tumors. With more, here's ABC's Faith Abube.
A new study from Johns Hopkins University shows that people with brain tumors who followed a ketogenic diet had metabolism changes in their body, brains, and even within the brain tumor itself. A ketogenic diet is high fat, high protein, and low in carbohydrates, and prompts the body to burn fat instead of carbs. Patients with a tumor called astrocytoma followed and tolerated a ketogenic diet for 8 weeks, 80% of them showing signs of metabolism changes. In addition, all people in the study showed a drop in blood sugar, insulin levels, and fat, and an increase in lean body mass. More research is needed as the study did not determine whether this diet could prevent tumor growth overall or increase how long they live. But with changes to the brain tumor's metabolism, researchers hypothesized that this could potentially impact the rate at which it grows. The study adds to the growing evidence on the impact of nutrition, food, and diet on our overall health and medical treatment. Any patients being treated for a brain tumor should talk to their doctors first before changing their diet. With this Medical Minute, I'm Faith Abube, ABC News.
Supply chain issues are worrying a lot of retailers, but not Amazon. Why the company says it's going to be able to avoid issues with deliveries this holiday shopping season.
This is your daily tech and business briefing from Cheddar News. Despite a seemingly never-ending wave of scandals, Facebook once again beating on earnings despite a slight miss on revenue. Facebook, though, warning investors last month changes to Apple's privacy rules would weigh on their business, and it seems like that warning helped the company dodge a big stock slide after reporting their earnings yesterday. The good news, Facebook revealed they actually added North American users for the very first time in a year. Meanwhile, Sweetgreen, now the latest food chain filing to go public at the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol SE. The salad restaurant doing so at a good time as same-store sales up 26%. That after a rough year financially due to the pandemic. Sweetgreen has made its way throughout the U.S. They now operate 140 restaurants across 13 states and D.C. They plan on doubling the amount of restaurants over the next 3 to 5 years. And Microsoft reporting their earnings today. They ended their fiscal year back in June, but it had one of the best years in recent history. Their earnings and revenue have been booming of the last 5 years. As a result, the company's been able to share its wealth a little bit more. They've passed on more profits to shareholders, increased their quarterly dividend by 11%, and even beginning a new $60 billion stock buyback program. And that's your Cheddar News Business and Tech Update. I'm Baker Pachado coming to you from Cheddar Studios in Lower Manhattan.
Staying with consumer news, as supply chain issues worry a lot of retailers, one major company has a new plan to actually speed things up. Amazon trying to hire 150,000 seasonal workers, and as an incentive, it is offering a sign-up bonus of up to $3,000. It also has increased its ports of entry by 50%, doubling ability to process containers. The company also looking to move more via air.
We've got options for the planners and the procrastinators. And so we're going to be delivering up until the evening of December 24th.
Both UPS and Amazon now say they do not expect delays this holiday season. However, experts still warn you should buy your holiday gifts early.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
The job market across the country is fascinating, to say the least. Employers are looking to hire, and on the other side, around 4.3 million people have quit their jobs the month of August alone.
That's right. As a result, we are seeing wages increase at so many local and national companies. So as people start to re-enter the job market, what should you look for? And here's a good problem to have. How do you turn down a job offer if it's not right for you? It's a nice feeling to get multiple job offers and be able to choose the best possible opportunity for you and your family. But how do you turn down potential employers? It's really important to know for your career. You don't want to burn any bridges, so if you're not interested, you need to find a happy medium of declining the offer while still maintaining a professional image and remaining courteous. Now, you've worked hard to get that job offer, so you don't want to negate your hard work by failing to respond to an offer you decide you don't want. You got to leave a good impression and end on a high note. And I know in the world of being digital, communicating via email and text, it might seem easy, but Roy Cohen, a career coach and author of the Wall Street Professional's Guide to Survival, says do it live. Either decline in person, on Zoom, or on the phone. You should also show appreciation, give an explanation why you're saying no. By the time an offer comes around, it's likely there's been a lot of time spent on interviews, emails, and phone conversations from both parties. Experts say it is important to be grateful for an offer, even the ones you don't want to accept. But you should also be transparent with your rejection. But how much you say is up to you. If the reason you say no is because the offer didn't meet your salary requirements, one expert suggests just keep the explanation short. Say you were looking for a certain salary to support yourself and your family. If applicable, you can still appreciate the offer. So if you are transparent, there is a chance that the company will try to sweeten the deal for you to accept the offer. That could mean a higher salary and more money in the bank. Guys, back to you.
I tell you what, best job in the business, weatherman.
Okay, why is that?
Meteorologist. Because you get to be a scientist.
Oh, you get to be a scientist, Justin.
Yeah, I wonder where she's going with this.
You're getting worried. I was going to say you could be wrong and nobody fires you. Oh. I knew it. I knew it.
But when the weather's beautiful, we give you all the praise.
You're never wrong, Justin. Ways. Not one time.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe not. I don't know. 80 degrees so far today, 72 the low this morning. The average is 79 to 57. And this is the time of year I mentioned earlier where we get these storm systems and you can get really warm temperatures and get really cold stuff too. 91 is our record high set back in 1987. 38, a record low set back in 1955. We're going to get it right. We got the forecast coming up.
Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Just about 12:45. Did we hit a record yesterday with heat?
Did we?
I think so. Justin, did we?
Not quite.
Not quite. Close. So close yet so far.
Yeah, it was close. The record yesterday was 91, I believe. We got up to about 88, so we were within range, but didn't quite get there. Still, it's late October. We want to be done with the 88s. We want something like in the 70s.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Probably tomorrow, and especially as we get into Thursday, I think we'll see some highs in the 70s. Outside right now, we're in the 80s, and we're starting to see a little bit of blue sky. It's kind of hard to see here on screen, but there's a couple peaks of sun through there. 80 degrees at the airport, 85 Stinson, 81 in Kelly. And in Randolph, it's 82. A good stout southerly breeze right now that continues to pump in quite a bit of moisture. And you look at the satellite picture, still a lot of mid and high level clouds tracking through. That's some Pacific moisture. It's not producing really any rain. There's some very light returns there, but it's probably nothing more than a couple sprinkles. You'll notice, though, we are starting to get some clearing down here to the south and west. So eventually, I think we see a little bit more sun this afternoon and this evening. Dew points, yeah, they're high. They're still high. They go away. We'll get that front through. Dew points will fall off into the 30s and even 20s. That's desert, dry air by the time we get into Thursday and Friday. So we'll get to enjoy that for several days, all the way into the weekend, in fact. Temperature-wise, 81 in New Braunfels, 84 Gonzales, mid-80s to even upper 80s here around Creosote Springs. We showed you there's starting to see less cloud cover there, and it's boosting the temperatures. As we zoom out, there is the front. Albuquerque starting to see some of that cooler air. It is advancing east. Behind it, it's not bitterly cold, but it is colder. 43 right now in Salt Lake City. We'll get some of this drier air and somewhat cooler air in here once the front passes by. By tonight, it looks like we will get some severe weather out ahead of the front. So that's kind of the byproduct, right? We like the drier, cooler weather, but we've got to deal with some storms out ahead of it. And there is a risk of some severe weather, an enhanced risk, Abilene to Wichita Falls up to, say, just west of Oklahoma City. For us, we have a slight risk in the hill country. On a scale of 1 to 5, that's about a 2. Here in San Antonio, marginal risk, so it's low end, but it is there. Gusty winds and hail would be your main threats if we do see any strong to severe storms, and we'll, of course, keep you posted if anything does pop up tonight. There's a small window for it, really. And then by tomorrow, that threat shifts east. Some of our eastern counties could see a few strong storms tomorrow morning, but by the afternoon, it's all out of here. So here's how the forecast plays out. Still a few showers here or there today, and then by, say, 3 a.m., we start to see those showers and storms developing along the front. And we'll get a broken line of storms. Right now, this model shows about 5 a.m. for San Antonio, so that would be pre-dawn. Early morning commuters may have to deal with this. If you leave the house a little bit later, you may get to avoid it because by 7 a.m., this is shifting east of San Antonio. And then by midday tomorrow, we're just left with some gusty winds and clearing skies. Rainfall's not going to be all that great because this is going to be moving quickly. We're thinking half an inch to an inch, or a quarter of an inch to half an inch, excuse me, here in San Antonio, and maybe some higher totals up north. And with that lack of rainfall, gusty winds tomorrow, low humidity, you have a fire threat out west. So there is a fire weather watch in effect tomorrow for our western counties. Wind gusts, that's going to be the big story tomorrow. Gusts up to 35, maybe even 40 miles per hour in some cases. So it will be a very windy day on your Wednesday. Just a 20% chance of rain today, 86. Timeline overnight, 40% chance of rain at 4 a.m., 60% chance at 6 a.m., 40% chance at 8 a.m., and then rain chances fall off thereafter. Extended forecast will go 79 tomorrow, 79 Thursday, 78 Friday, and then 81 Saturday, 83 Sunday for Halloween with some nice mornings in store as well, guys.
What's your forecast for the Astros, Justin?
That's a dub right there. I'm feeling good about it.
Okay, raining home runs.
Yep.
Look at that. Boom.
Very confident, Justin, there.
Oh, yeah.
A
we
dub.
gotta show confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of confidence, UTSA undefeated right now.
Yeah.
But guess what, guys? It did not take long for head coach Jeff Traylor to be mentioned for other jobs, some bigger jobs. Another Texas school is looking to pluck Coach Traylor away from the Road Runners. And the Battle of Stone Oak is on. We get you ready for this week's big game matchup between Reagan and Johnson. That is coming up after the break in sports. There is major buzz this morning about the future of UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor. Traylor's name is being mentioned for the vacant head coaching job at Texas Tech after the Red Raiders fired Matt Wells. UTSA school officials are already working on another contract extension for their head coach, even after adding a year to his current deal. So they might want to hurry and get this extension done fast. Traylor has led the Roadrunners to an 8-0 start and UTSA's first ever appearance in the national rankings. Traylor said he's happy at UTSA and wants to enjoy the moment and this historic season for the Runners.
There's something about the game of football that's just so unique that can bring so many different colors, so many different religions, and nobody cares. It's a unique game, and I'm just glad that I've been put in a position to influence a lot of people, make them happy. And when you got players like I do, it's easy to make people happy.
All right, the Roadrunners are ranked number 23 in the latest AP poll, and it's caught the attention of ESPN2, which has decided to broadcast their next game on November the 6th against UTEP in El Paso. That kickoff has now been moved to 9:15 local time that Saturday night. The Texas Longhorns back at work this week, coming off their bye to get ready for number 16 ranked Baylor in Waco this Saturday morning. The Horns are coming off back-to-back losses to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, in which they had the lead in both games and still wound up losing. So head coach Steve Sarkisian, did he see a level of frustration following these latest losses?
Yeah, I think there was a real level of frustration. I would have been more concerned if there wasn't. You know, I think that the frustration comes in from, I think they know they're capable of doing it, whether it's position-specific, player-specific, or scheme-specific. And then when it doesn't happen later in the game, you know, there is a level of frustration because I think they know they're capable of getting it done.
Big game for the Horns coming up. You'll be able to see Texas take on Baylor live on KSAT 12 this Saturday at 11 a.m. All right, here we go. The annual Battle of Stone Oak between the Reagan Rattlers and Johnson Jaguars is this week's big game in our big game coverage. Johnson is the third-ranked team in KSAT 12's top 12 rankings. They are unbeaten and facing number 8 Reagan. Neighborhood bragging rights are on the line, but also a district title. The Jaguars come into this thing at 8-0 overall and 6-0 in district, behind one of the best running backs in the country. See him right there. Ben McCreary has rushed for over 1,100 yards and 18 TDs. Their only scare this season was a close call over Madison in their last game, but they held on for a 42-35 win. Reagan is also undefeated in district at 6-0 with their only 2 losses to the top 2 teams in the city to start the season, a 35-14 loss to Brennan and a 14-6 defeat to Steele. This should be a fun one.
I played a lot of ball with them growing up, a lot of those kids over there, and they're all good athletes, so you know, we really have to work hard this week.
It's going to be the biggest game of the year. You know, we've worked all season for a game like this. Really excited to just come out there and show them what we got.
Big time, you know. This is some of the 2 juggernauts in this district, and you know, it's going to come down to the last second. So we're just focused on, you know, doing what we're coached to do and, you know, performing off of that.
All right, kickoff is set for Friday night at 7 p.m. at Hero Stadium, and Greg Simmons and KSAT 12 Sports will be there starting live at 5. Big matchup there, just one of many across the San Antonio area. As we
they cut away from the video. The dude was making like an Odell Beckham catch. Yeah.
We're going to have to get that in there.
Yeah, I like that. All right, RJ Marquez, thank you so much. You got to be excited about that. There you go. You know what else we're excited about?
SA Live.
Boom.
Ooh, they're doing it up big today.
So, you think this will work?
I mean, it's worked before.
All right, here we go.
Good afternoon, my ladies.
No, it didn't work. That is not what I pictured.
Well, maybe not this time. It works most of the time.
Maybe you have to be a real princess for it to work?
Maybe we need a male frog.
That's it. It wasn't me.
By the way, somebody lose a shoe back there? The Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo Fest is coming up at the San Antonio Botanical Garden, and a man is going to be there, as well as Cinderella. And you got some little friends you're going to bring too, right?
I sure do. We'll have all kinds of creepy crawly creatures and more at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo Fest.
Of course, Day of the Dead is this weekend as well. Need some really good tips on doing Day of the Dead makeup? Oh, have we got something for you? Look at that.
Yes, local makeup artists show you how to do it with some inexpensive products from NYX Cosmetics. Then we continue to celebrate Filipino American History Month with the folks from Lumpia's Rollin' Food Truck serving up some yummy, yummy eats. Go ahead, get started, Mike.
Are Lumpia, and Fiona says you got to have about 10,000 of them. You're going to have a party?
Oh, they're like chips. You can't have a Filipino party without them. You bet? All right, all that and more when SA Live continues in just a few minutes.